Hey there guys, congratulations, you found the champ dog. Got some more MTG arena content for you today. So today we're going to be playing some Big Red. So this is pretty similar to the Rakdos control list that I had up on this channel a little while ago. Not that long ago in fact. It's another just sort of ramp into Ugin deck. But we've cut the black out and just focusing on the red, which gives us a little more consistency in getting Iron Crag feet on time and when we want it, and a few other minor issues. So the main advantage black had was obviously less conditional removal, like less dependent on damage, and obviously you get access to Proxer. This plays pretty similarly, but it gives you a little more freedom in your mana base. So you can see I've gone up to 3 Crawling Barrens, I've got 2 Radiant Fountains. Crawling Barrens is so good in this deck. It's a really good card at the moment. It gives a lot of decks a lot of trouble. I also found the same in my Dimir control list I was running, which I've since deleted because that's not very well positioned at the moment. But here we are, Big Red. So if you saw my previous videos on the Rakdos control list, you'll know the basic idea behind this deck is getting out Ugin ahead of schedule. This core of Maze Mind Tome, Solemn Simulacrum, and Ugin the Spirit Dragon is translatable into a lot of different decks. There's a mono black control list that runs it. I've seen some mono blue lists running that combination. Solemn Simulacrum obviously helps to ramp into Ugin a little bit. But red seems to be probably the best fit for this particular shell. With or without black, the red is a little more consistent, but has a little more trouble dealing with the board sometimes. And also a little more trouble dealing with opponents playing counter spells because we don't have discard and we don't have something like Croxer to keep coming back and hitting the opponent's hand. But what we do get is a slightly better game against some of the creature-based decks, in that we can more reliably hit our spells, hit our Iron Crag feet. We can play around with the mana base, as I've said. Another important one that I didn't have in the Rakdos control list is Shredded Sails in the main deck. So this is really important at the moment to deal with the Great Henge and also Embercleave, which I actually haven't seen much of recently. But obviously it is around in the Gruul list, but the Great Henge in particular can be very difficult to deal with. It's a little bit too big and spicy for Ugin to deal with straight away. You need to tick him up first, and that can create a really awkward situation where you're racing against all this value from the Great Henge, trying to get Ugin big enough, but also having to contain the board that let them cast the Great Henge in the first place. So it can just let opponents stay in the game or get back in the game or take over the game. So having something like this in the main deck is really helpful. I'm actually thinking of trying to get another copy into the sideboard somewhere, because it is just that important in those games. It's the one card that cards like Mono Green Food or Gruul run that will get them back in the game against a resolved Ugin. But other than that, you got a lot of the same suspects from the previous list. You got removal in Scorching Dragonfire, Bone Crusher Giant, Shadow Skull Smashing, Spikefield Hazard even, so it built a bit into our land base. I've also included 2 copies of Soul Sear to hit some bigger creatures because we've lost access to things like Eliminate and Heartless Act. Extinction Event has become Storm's Wrath. It's hard to say which is better. They both can do things that the other can't. Obviously, Extinction Event, you have to choose a odd or even, so you can't necessarily hit the whole board, and it doesn't hurt Planeswalkers, but it can get rid of creatures of any size. The advantages with Storm's Wrath is it's a very good response to a Vivien, which is probably other than Ugin, the best Planeswalker running around in Standard at the moment that's actually seeing play. And it's another card that can help opponents grind out the game. So it comes down with 3 loyalty, ticks up, makes a 3/3, gets to 4 loyalty. You play this the next turn, you kill the Vivien and the creature it created. Otherwise, if you're just killing the Vivien, they're getting value out of the body left behind. But this clears both up quite nicely. You do have to be careful if you've got an Ugin out, because it's going to hit your own Ugin. But yeah, that replaces Extinction Event. We've obviously still got Iron Crag Feet. Some people would argue that this should be 4 because there's a lot of ways that the deck can use the mana in drawing off Maze Mind Tome, playing out Nox of Agonist, pumping up Crawling Barrens, but I found 3 to be a pretty good number. There's a few things I'd like to fit in the deck. I'd like to have more Shredded Sails. I'd like to have a 4th Ironcrag. I just don't know what I would cut to make that happen. You can see here I've also got a Singleton Valakut Awakening. I just wanted to try this out. It just can be handy to have access to an effect like this sometimes, when you really need to hit Nugan and you've drawn dead for a few turns. Really, the whole point of this deck is to just stall out and survive and dig towards casting an Ugin to clear the board and take over the game, and often you'll win with either Ugin or Crawling Barrens. And honestly, a lot of what happens in between doesn't really matter that much. You just need a little bit of removal so that you don't die, and then hope that Ugin clearing the board is good enough, and look, 9 out of 10 times it is. I've kept some pretty sketchy hands with this list, but Ugin just does such a good job of cleaning everything up, and with Ox of Agonis you're constantly, and Maze Mind Tome, you're really able to find gas, stay gassed up in the late game, dig for the cards that you want. Bone Crusher Giant's really nice in being a little bit of removal and a bit of board presence. So obviously Stomp is less good right now than it has been in other metas. There's not that many 2 toughness things to hit, but it's still nice to have access to. You can kill a Bird of Paradise, it can kill a Lotus Cobra, it can kill a Brushfire Elemental, it can help ping down a Planeswalker, and having a 4/3 body can be pretty relevant. It can help block and pad your life total that way, or just put a little bit of pressure on your opponent. And often I find I like to play this once I've cleared the board a bit, just to force the opponent to take a turn off responding to something I do, so that they can't just keep building up their own board presence. And so sometimes putting this on down turn 3, so that your opponent on their turn 4 deals with the giant in some way, and then on turn 5 Ironcrag feet into Ugin, can just help bridge that gap so that Ugin is good enough when it comes down. I mean, a turn 5 Ugin's almost always good enough. But you know what I mean, sometimes it's just nice to have something to do proactively and something menacing to put on the board to force your opponent to respond, rather than you being the reactive one all the way through the game. Ox of Agonis helps us stay gassed up in the late game, as well as putting a bit of pressure on. Solemn Simulacrum is attacked surprisingly often, but a lot of the time this is just a 4 mana, ramp a land, gain some life through blocking, and draw a card, which is still good. But yeah, look, it's a very straightforward deck. We're just trying to get Ugin out as quickly as possible and control the board until then. So it's basically just a bunch of removal, some ramp, and some card sorting to get to Ugin. Radiant Fountains are something I introduced in the land base that I didn't have in the black-red deck. I'm not super impressed with it, but I also don't hate it. Gaining a little bit of life can be helpful. Maybe this should be a 4th Crawling Barrens, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the 3-2 split. If there was another really good utility land, I might run that over the Fountain, but yeah, sometimes just getting that little bit of life gain is pretty good. Sideboard, I've got 2 Soul Guide Lanterns to help deal with stuff out of the graveyard, something Red's not very good at, although we do have a nice amount of exile effects with Spikefield Hazard and Scorching Dragonfire, and obviously Ugin. We've got 4 Robber of the Rich and 4 Phoenix of Ash, so these come in against decks that are playing a lot of counterspells, so against rogues, against Dimir Control, some of the more heavily blue-based Urian lists, just to make their life a little more difficult and to force them to be a bit more reactive to help clear the way for Ugin to resolve. So it can be very hard game 1 against decks running a fair amount of counter spells, because we don't really do much, and if they're not playing much to the board, a lot of our cards are dead. But even if they are, we're not really doing much to force them to respond. They can very easily sit behind a counter spell and just counter the one spell that matters. So these are meant to come out and help put those decks in a more difficult situation. Mind you, I've only actually hit Robber of the Rich once and it immediately died, but hey, it was something. Phoenix of Ash is also helpful against rogues in that it's another escape card and it's also a flyer, so it can block. Thundering Rebuke is just a little bit more removal. Comes in against the mono green lists and the Gruul lists. We've also got an extra Storm's Wrath and a Crow and War just to help us control the board a bit more. I went for a 1-on-1 split because I wanted to try the Crow and War. I know it's been quite good in the Gruul list. I don't know how I feel about it in this list. I'm still making my mind up, but it can be nifty at times. And then we've also got another Rocks of Agonis to help give us a little more late game gas, and also against rogues help us clear out the graveyard a bit more. So that's the deck. Let's jump into some games. Get to go first, always nice. This hand's terrible. I'm not keeping a 1-lander. Yeah, it's better. Oh, decisions. I guess I put back the Soul Sear. I mean, Bone Crusher Giant's just the better card, right? And obviously this is the thing my deck does, so I don't want to get rid of those. Yeah, I think Soul Sear is the correct choice here. You could make an argument for Bone Crusher, because I'm going to probably be casting this on turn 2. Ooh, opponent mulls to 5. You'd love to see it. Love to see it. Dragonfire is nice. Okay, 2 swamps. Null Priest. Is this clerics? Just some sort of mono black aggro. Time will tell, I guess. So we're going to scry here to make sure we can hit a land drop. I'll actually even double scry because I'm going to Bone Crush this turn. Yep, beautiful. I just really can't afford to be missing land drops. Yeah, it looks like some kind of mono black. So I see no reason not to just play this here. Obviously they're going to follow up with something, but that's kind of fine, to be honest. Okay. So that's unfortunate, we lose our Bone Crusher, but it's not the end of the world. That's not what I want to say, so I'm going to draw here. Try and find another land. I did not. This is very much not good for us. Ooh. Ooh, you hate to see that, but Scorching Dragonfire is a nice clean answer. And thanks to the good book, we'll go back up to 20. No village rights again, please. Yes. Out of here. So is this Mono Black Devotion? It is. Land, please, one time. Yes! We get to do the thing! We get to do the thing! And our opponent gives us a good game. See if they actually skip. Okay.
Without wisdom is the path. Consider this a warning.
I talk scabs is you just don't want to be playing 3 toughness things right now, you know? You're just gonna Ugin them. There we go.
Beyond perception.
Yeah, so mono black. That's pretty cool. So, what do I want? I mean, I think Soul Guide Lanterns might be good here. Probably better than Shredded Sails. I don't really know what else I want to change because I don't really know this deck. It looks like Devotion. So there's probably going to be some amount of aggro. But honestly, I think maybe I just leave it like this. I'm not very familiar with this matchup, so I feel like I say that every video, if not every game. I've not been playing a lot of Standard lately. Okay, this hand's much better. So with this hand, I'm actually going to lead on the mountain, so I have Hazard available. No need to play this turn 1, because I don't get the value of the ETV trigger. And I don't have a turn 2 play at the moment, so obviously I can't Hazard this, which is unfortunate, but here we are. Okay, so there's a chance I should have brought in a Crow and War, something like that, another sweeper sort of situation. It's alright, I have a Storm's Wrath here, so this is probably not going to be useful anytime soon. I guess we just get rid of it. I'd expect to see Kollros somewhere in this deck. I wish I had that Spikefield Cave now. Spoke too soon, way too soon. Oh, Hunted Nightmare too, you hate to see it. You do hate to see it. Yeah. Oops, he forgot to attack, that's what he's oopsing. I thought he was oopsing at me being smug. Which, you know, would have been fair, to be honest. And I'm still going to take a pounding next turn, so I'm actually just going to play this out so I can draw a card. Okay, so this deck is a lot more aggressive than I initially expected. Okay, that's nice. I still need to cast Storm's Wrath this turn, because I'm going to die otherwise. Obviously they get a whole bunch of scries, but I do have Ugin next turn. Hopefully it's enough to save us. And unfortunately I'll be able to bring Worst Trainer back from the graveyard because they're going to fill their yard here. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Three.
Perfection is a journey, not a
And that exiles the Demonic Embrace, which is pretty nice, pretty tight.
turn to the essence.
Deathless Knight, okay. Yep, you got me. Good game. Okay, so we have a better idea of what we're up against now. So I want Storm's Wrath, I want a Crow and War, and I probably want these Thundering Rebukes. Simulacrum, I can probably cut. I might even cut one each of these guys. And yeah, let's just leave it like this, I think. Surprised I didn't see any disruption there, but this hand kind of sucks, hey. Yeah, I can't keep this. I mean, I love a turn 2 tome as much as the next guy, but okay, what am I putting back here? Probably Ugin, unfortunately. Sure. So I'm going to play Mountain here. And if they attack with Eidolon, I'm happy to take the 1. So I don't get ambushed by another Paragon if it comes to that. Okay, there is no Paragon this turn. And they're tapped out, so there's no Village Rites here either. Tap lands only, huh? How badly do I want to cast Bone Crusher Giant? Do I want it badly enough to take 3 damage? Well, the turn up, yeah, I'm not going to have a good chance to play it otherwise. This does mean they can play his grasp and draw a card, which will suck. But there's not much I can do. Okay, Demonic Embrace. Ooh, and they gain 4, that sucks. So I could shock this into a Corrin War and steal this and start smacking them down a bit. Yeah, that's actually not a bad play. I'll gain the life back anyway. And I do, yeah, kind of want to have some life gain. I'll get at least 1 attack with it. Duress, sure. I assume they take souls here. Yep, that seems like the correct decision. Scabs, sure. And I should draw the card here. One dies, shouldn't I? Okay, so they're going to gain 2 life next turn. They have to attack with it. They're going to gain 2 life. I didn't want to attack with my Bone Crusher and get it killed by the Scavenger, because it's going to survive the 3rd turn of the war here. Ah, it untapped first, so it didn't die. That's unfortunate. Okay, so do I want to attack and offer the trade? I think I do. Either way, they're going to draw a card off it when it dies. Sure. Okay, so they're gaining life back. That sucks for us, but what do we do? So I should have held back with the Eidolon and blocked the Scavenger. I would have drawn a card that way. Live and learn, haven't played with the card before. It's a bit premature for them to be good gaming me. It is a bit premature. Shadow Skull for 2 doesn't seem very good. But if this is a Deathless Knight, I am dead. Should have Shadow Skulled, my bad. Oh well, live and you learn. Oh no, if it's a Deathless Knight and a land, I'm dead. Ooh, spicy. Spicy. Why did this get a... Black Knight's Paragon. Right, makes sense, makes a lot of sense. Okay, do I have a way to survive here? 3, 4, 5, 6. No. So 3, 4, 5. Next. Yeah, no, it's not going to be enough. Cool. Next game. Okay, we will take this play. I mean, this isn't an amazing hand, but we get to do the thing, so it's not a bit. Ooh, take some mulligan. It's good for us. So we're going to lead on Mountain. I like to play this as late as possible to not give our opponents information on what we're doing. Looks like we're up against Kollros, which is allegedly a good matchup for us. But okay, if this is Gruul, I think I'm going to leave this for 1 turn just in case they play an elemental, so I can ping it down. Okay, they did not. If this is Gruul, it's a very slow start for them. Okay, so I can afford to play this as a land because I've got another one. This guarantees the turn 4. So I've got a guaranteed turn 4 Simulacrum, which should mean a guaranteed turn 5 Ugin. Can't complain about that. Okay. So no Brushfire Elemental in hand. Obviously they would have played it before slapping this down. What is my opponent on? Like, it's definitely Gruul Kollros, they just don't have anything to play. I can't imagine a Gruul player keeping a hand this bad. I will take that action. Ah, that's a shame I don't get to draw. Okay, Crushies. Still have no idea what's going on. Oh, I could have Ugin'd last turn? No! I'm 1 land ahead because of the Simulacrum. Right. Alright, then they scoop it up. So, I still think it is Gruul. So I'm going to respond accordingly. Okay, so I am on the draw. So I can cut a Lando. One Lando Calrissian. What land should it be? I think it has to be Crawling Barrens, actually. Right. Try like this. So I'm just proceeding on the assumption that this is still a regular Gruul deck and they just kept a bad hand. Time shall tell. So I'll lead on this, so I have turn 2 Maze Mind Tome available. Yeah, it's definitely not a standard Gruul deck by the looks of it, because these are not very aggressive openings. Interesting. I have not seen him in a good long while. Actually, I don't think I've ever played against Grumgully. Ugin... I mean, I can't say no, can I? So I'm just going to hold up the card draw at this point. What is my opponent up to here? Okay, so that's unfortunate because I can't Storm's Wrath it. If I play this, I'll get a 5th land and I'll have 6. That'll be so close to dead. What are my other options? Yeah, no, I think I need to hold up Dragonfire and card draw. And then next turn I can, if I hit a land, Storm's Wrath into Hazard. To kill off the 5/5. Such a strange list. Tectonic Giant, okay. Yeah, so it's just like a weird Gruul mid-range. Bizarre. Bizarre. So I'm scrying here to try and make sure I can hit land. Obviously I can Soul Sear the Beast, but I really want to kill both of these things this turn if I can. Okay, you're not an untapped land, that's a problem. So I have to abandon this plan, unfortunately. Okay, so they're just trying to get me dead here. So we're going to go down to 5. I do not like this at all. But what does one do? Garrick's Harbinger, okay. I just cannot get land to save myself here. And it literally is to save myself. Okay, that sucks. And they're running shock. This is a weird list. It's rule jank. Weird. Do I want to change my sideboarding plan? I definitely want to put my land back in. Take out a sad robot. Alrighty, here we go. I mean, we would have been in a much better position that game had we drawn into land. Okay, yeah, this is capable. So I'm gonna lead on this, get it in tapped. Well, they've had this turn 1 every game so far. Lotus Cobra. Just gets weirder and weirder. Oxy Boy, I don't think I want you right now. I do think I want to do this now to stop them ramping. And I will scry here. Potentially. Depends what my opponent does. Going crush a giant, yeah. So I'm not going to scry because I'm just going to Simulacrum this turn. And hope to block this Bone Crusher Giant. Although maybe I should be scrying just to try and get to the life gain aspect of it. I don't know. Why would they keep that in against me? That's so bizarre. I don't agree with that choice of keeping this in. Like, I've shown you almost no creatures. I do not condone or endorse that decision. Do not think that was correct. I mean, it's obviously hijacked my line of play, but you know, the fact that it worked out this time does not mean it was a good decision. But, I mean, it could be that they don't have a better option, because their list is weird and they don't know what they're running. So I've got a draw from the tome held up. Sure. Happy to draw a card. So I'm at 7 mana. So next turn I can Ugin if I draw a land. And now I can either tome or giant. Nice. Yeah, get in for your 4. I mean, this could be a questing base, so it could be get in for your 8. Embercleave. I was literally just thinking, I wonder if they run Embercleave. So this is going to hurt, obviously. I can still Ugin all of these away. I can Ugin away the Embercleave as well. Except that I didn't draw a land, which is unfortunate. So instead I'm going to Thundering Rebuke. Draw a life, gain some draw a card, gain some life, and play out this as a blocker. The only thing with haste I've seen in their deck is questing beast, so they won't be able to play a haster and equip this turn. Oh no, they can if they hit a land, and then I'll be just about dead. I'll be 5, 3, 7. Not quite dead, but very close to dead. Equip, okay, that's their whole turn. Beautiful. So there's literally no point attacking here, is there? I mean, my giant's dead either way. So I need to do this for 6. Obviously leaves our Ugin very vulnerable, but we just kind of had to do that. Yep, bye Ugin. Scorching Dragonfire. Not a good choice. And it upsets me that they've been rewarded for it. There could be another Lotus Cobra or something that I need the 2 damage for. Sure. So if I target this, they get to draw a card. So it's better to use Storm's Wrath. We're down to top decks anyway. Safe to draw a card here. I've still got Soul Sear up. Dragonfire is nice as well. Do I want to Valakut Awakening? Not particularly. I mean, I kind of want to, but let's just see what they do here. So I assume this must be another Scorching Dragonfire, since they're not casting it. Do I want to dump Scorching Dragonfire? Is it better to dump the Smashing? Nah, Dragonfire is pretty limited. Hox is nice. Gives them a target for their Dragonfire. Okay, maybe it's not a Dragonfire. Maybe they're just holding up a land. Back up to 12. So I could have cast Soul Sear there, but I'd rather kill this with Shadow Skull Smashing, because Soul Sear has the instant option. Unfortunately, they get to draw a card on this play, but I need to remove it. If I wait for them to attack and try to trade, they get to draw a card anyway, plus kill my giant. And they can only play it this turn. Oh no, until the end of their next turn, yep. I've got Soul Sear held up to kill a questing beast. So I feel like it's safe to attack here. I don't want to play the Ox at the moment. I'd rather wait until I'm a bit lower in cards. Yep. Just wondering where my other Soul Sear is. I think it's at the bottom of my deck somewhere. Okay, no, we're not actually sure. Because it's my only way to, it's the only one of my removal spells that answers a questing beast. So I don't mind 2-for-1ing myself there. I'm quite far ahead on cards and I can draw more with the Ox. I can play this out because my Soul Sear held up and we're in a pretty good position now. On the 2-turn clock. I could have played this out to have lethal next turn, but I would have lost my Soul Sear. And they would have had questing beast. Okay, and that was the only thing holding me back from playing Ox. Ah! I'll draw another one. So at this point there's no need for me to play Ox. They're dead on board next turn anyway. And I've got this up to kill a blocker. Yep. Okay, and we're back. So I hope you enjoyed those games, guys. You've probably realised these were not the first games I played with this deck. I have been playing with this a fair bit off camera, and I've been enjoying it. It's probably going to be one of the main decks that I play this standard, and I'm putting it together in paper to play at Friday Night Magic. So this is just going to be my go-to deck. You'll probably see a bit of it on the channel over the coming weeks. I'll try to put in some other decks as well. I've been playing around with Dimir Control but decided it's not very good, but I do have one game that I'd like to show you guys just to show off my opponent's Dimir Kicker deck that I thought was really cool and deserves some attention. I'm a little bit jealous of it. But yeah, I've got a few more games coming up with this. As you can see, it's pretty similar to the Rakdos control list in terms of its gameplay. I really enjoy this. Emotionally, I like it a little bit more than the Rakdos list. I'm not actually sure which is better. Obviously, having access to Kroxa and more hard removal is really good, but I kind of like the self-limitation of playing only red. So I'm going to keep playing around with this. Might have to tinker with the sideboard a little bit. As I said, I'd love to get in an extra Sails or something. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Look after yourselves, guys. Stay brilliant.